watching Grit TV in the bus. First thing I got to do, well, the first thing I did was I cut a hole in this vinyl right here where the old mount is, and I'm getting this old indicator plate off, and I'm going to put the new one back on. So I went up on the roof and I thought I knew where the coax was coming down and everything, but now I'm not so sure, and I figured it'd be a good time to try to figure out what they did from the factory as far as coax wire. And I think it had two TVs. I think it had one here where this is a new old TV and it had one back in the bedroom, and I'm thinking they came in here. This looks pretty original here. They came in to this amp, or just, you know, I don't know what it is, a tuner, amp, something. And I believe this is the one that was coming from the roof, because it's got enough memory in it to where it's going like right there from antenna. And then you got another one coming from here where it says TV set, and there's a cable input which I don't seem to have anything for. Doesn't necessarily mean there was ever anything there. And then you got another one going out the other side, which I was thinking maybe that was the from, but I'm not so sure if that is the case or not. It could have been from cable, but it doesn't quite reach. I don't think that's it. So how do you find out? Well, I have a coax finder identification tool. It's really a network tool, but it'll do coax as well. It does Cat5 and coax. It's this guy here from Klein, and you put that little thing there that says number 1, and if I find the other end of that cable, this thing's going to say, hey, number 1. So I'm going to go back in the back, and I think I have identified one. Where they put a bullet in it right here. I think that is the one that I'm on. So I'm going to take this bullet out, screw my meter in, and see if it's it. All right, and there you go. You can see pass ID1. So we're going to continue on. I'm starting to think this is the one that went to cable input, because it's going back here to the back, and I'm going to see if I can identify it here in this cable mess here. I bet it comes down right here somewhere, and because there's a piece of coax right there, and it is going down into the electrical bay, which I believe also has coax down there for cable hookup if you have cable at your site. So that's what I'm thinking. I'll probably go outside and check it out there, and then I'll know this is for cable, and I don't need to worry about it right now because I'm working on the antenna. Okay, down here in the electrical bay, which is a complete utter mess. I haven't cleaned it out yet. But there's some coax in the back here. I don't know if it's hooked anything. Nope, it's just a roll of coax. This looks like it might be something, except I don't have any coax to test it with. Let's see. I'll just use this big long piece. All right. Oh, there we go. ID1. So that's what it was. That one is a cable. So I'm going to go back inside and I'm going to hook that to that cable input so that I remember it. Okay, so we've identified this is cable. So I'm going to unplug my little test thing here. See if I can set the camera down. There we go. Unplug this little guy. We'll plug this up. I'm gonna cross thread this. No, just kidding. That's good enough for now, just to remember which one is which. So that's cable. Now, this one is one that was added after the fact. It goes up through the roof, right over next to that air line going to the middle horn. So I ain't worried about that one. I'm not gonna use that one, I don't think. This one is cut off right over here, right in here, and the antenna is going to be right there. So I'm 99.9% sure that is my antenna wire right there. So I think there might be a tube coming through from the ceiling down. So tomorrow when it gets light, I'll go up there and see if I can fish something through there and get it to come out in here. That would be great, because then I wouldn't have to pull this headliner down, which I really don't want to do. So we'll see what happens tomorrow as far as that goes. But then tonight, I'm gonna see if I can identify this guy. It goes down this side of the bus. And I think what that is going to be is the TV that used to be in this hole right here. I think there used to be a big CRT TV, big old 80s TV right there. The reason I think that is because of this. There's cable, and then there's a power, and there's 12 volt and AC power right there. So there was definitely a TV there at one time. So that's probably what that's going to end up being. And that's good, because I can reuse it for a TV if I put a TV here. So I'll see if I can identify it. This one is broke off. And I don't think I really want to re-terminate it just to identify it. So I might see, this might be a good opportunity for me to try out my tone generator. So let me get that thing going and we'll try it. All right, can you tell I like Klein tools? I'm not super picky, but I feel like they're a good middle of the road between $1 million fluke meters and everything else. So that's, just me. But anyway, this is my tone generator. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the back. We're gonna hook it up, one of these little gator clips to that bare wire, and then I should be able to trace it out up here. So let's go do that. Hard to do this stuff with one hand. I really should put a head mount on, but I just don't have time for all that fancy videography, folks. I'm sorry. Jeez Louise. I'll be right back. All right, let's try this again. Stay. All right, let's see what we got. I hear a faint. Oh, that's the wrong cable. Yeah, that won't do it. It's this one. Oh yes, that's much louder. All right, So that's it. That's what it is. It's that one going back to that bedroom. So now the next question is going to be, do I want to use this old coax or not? I think I might, honestly. Newell probably used the best thing they could find at the time, and I haven't tried real hard to read it yet. It's probably RG59, but really the cable runs are so short. What is this, a 36-foot bus? I mean, it ain't that far. And it's an amplified antenna, which should accommodate for that. But the beauty of it is I can hook the antenna up and test and see what happens. So stay tuned, no pun intended, and be back tomorrow to work on the actual antenna install. Well, y'all, I can't stand it. I've got this little test TV sitting here, which I think looks pretty good sitting right there on top of that little folding table thingamabob, Newell, a Newell thing. Looks pretty good right there, right across from the couch. But anyway, I got a coax running out the window, and I'm gonna hook it up. I'm gonna set this thing on top of my golf cart and I'm gonna see how good it works sitting on top of my golf cart, because I'm just a geek. Well, there it is, top of the golf cart. Don't judge me. Well, my golf cart antenna mast test is failing, but I just remembered this is a powered antenna, and it clearly doesn't have pass through for power failure. So that's pretty normal, but I wish it did. It needs power or it won't work. And I haven't hooked all of this up yet, but don't worry. Luckily, I'm a ham, so that means I have power poles everywhere, and gator clips with power poles, and cigarette lighter adapters with power poles. So I'm just gonna run a little jumper wire over there, hook it all up, and make it work. I'll be back. So have a look at this conglomeration. Got my coax going out the window, got coax going to the TV, and we got this signal strength meter hooked up, which is also I believe a power injector, and I've got power pole here. Make sure none of my wires are touching. Well, it's beeping at me. Oh, look at that. The TV came on. So this thing is cool. So it's working. I'm going to do a channel scan real quick. Okay, I'm gonna rescan. We'll see what we get. Okay, so we got 41 channels. Let's see what we got. This is 2, which is UNC, which is right up the road, probably 29 miles or so, and I'm pointing right at it, so that doesn't surprise me. Okay, that is WRAL, which is in Raleigh, and I'm pointing northeast, and that station is west of me, through the bus. So not sure how that happened, but that's Raleigh. That's about 70 miles, 80 miles away, that's impressive. So that's Greenville, which is 20 or 25 miles away. No big deal. New Bern, maybe 30, 40 miles. New Bern again, 15, have no idea. Probably in Chesapeake, Virginia or something, which is probably 60, 70 miles away, 80 miles away. I don't know. That's impressive. 34, I think is like Norfolk. 38, that's Greenville, and that is where Grit is, which is the only reason to get an antenna in the first place, really. So that's 38, 49. Looks like it's going to be touch and go, but I think that's in Norfolk. This is impressive. It's so impressive. I don't even know what these channels are. So that's cool. I'm interested to see what's going to do tomorrow when it's actually on the roof, up raised on the roof like it's supposed to be. This is impressive. This is sitting on top of a golf cart. Watching Grit TV in the bus. All right, y'all. So I had some really bad wind noise in a lot of these clips, so I'm going to try to narrate for you. So basically what I'm trying to do here is just laying everything out. This thing used to have an antenna on it just like this when it was original. And what I'm trying to figure out is where all the wires should go. And I'm just kind of looking at all the old holes. And there's a hole in the front of this thing right there that it's designed to where the coax just goes straight down in. But I think they didn't do that because there's that center support right there. And so they ran it over to the left right there where I'm pointing. And there's actually two wires coming through here. The coax is there too. You can't really see it good here, but it's there. That little wire, that's actually an indicator light that shows up if your antenna's up so you don't drive away with it up. And this is just the coax that they ran to get around this problem. It just goes down into the bus where the horn, the airline for the horn does. So that's that. So it might be kind of hard to see, but right there is where the coax and the old power cable for the preamp that used to be on the antenna up there comes down from the roof. That's the original. And if you look, there's like a piece of 3/8 inch plywood, and then there's the outside of the bus. Well, on the roof there is another sheet of 3/8 inch plywood, and then the metal on the roof. And underneath that 3/8 plywood is the foam, and then another layer of 3/8 inch plywood, which you can see right here. And I believe what they did is they ran all the wires, and then they sprayed that foam, and then they built the inside of the bus. So pulling that wire through there is going to be, they didn't leave me enough to be able to really get it out to where I could hook anything to it, and not easily anyway. And there's already another piece of coax coming through the roof where they probably already figured this out back in the day, and decided not to mess with it. So I think that's what I'm going to do for now. I'm just going to use their coax up there and tie it down a little bit better with Everbond and go that route for right now. And if I ever decide I want to try this again, I can always try again. So I think that's the decision. All right, so what I'm doing here is I've just basically screwed this thing down tight to the roof. And the reason I did that is because that's required so that you can get a good measurement of the shaft and cut it off at the right length. And I also wanted to make sure that because it's slightly round where it's mounted, I wanted to make sure it'll pull down enough to get sealant under it and actually seal. Okay, I took a wire wheel, cleaned all the places where there were holes really good, and then came back with alcohol. So I think I'm ready to start sealing stuff up. All right, y'all, well, there it is. Mounted and in the upright position. I got about 5 gallons of lap sealing on here. Sorry for the light, the sun's going down. All these other holes where the little tripod was, where they had their previous coax tied down, and right here where it went in the bus, all that has been cleaned and wire brushed and ever bonded. And then I took the little pigtail and hooked it up, kind of just slid it under the air conditioner, and then put a couple pieces of Everbond on there to hold it down, and then it goes in the bus right there. So we'll see how it works. All right, so back down in the bus. Now we can rotate, pull down, turn it, it'll go to that stop, and then it'll go to that stop. And the little arrow right there indicates where it needs to be so that you can put it down, not the front of the antenna. The antenna is actually pointed that way, out the side of the bus, so that when it lays down, you know, it's taking up less room. So I think I'm gonna take a Sharpie and put a little mark right here. That way I know where the front of the antenna is, so I can at least get it close. Otherwise it's just kind of confusing because I'm looking at this arrow all the time, and it's really the front of the antenna is over here. So I'm gonna put a little mark on it. It's definitely pointing pretty much straight out the side of the bus. So that's how I'm gonna do my mark. There, if I didn't know any better, I'd say it came like that. So that is the front of the antenna. So when I'm looking for a tower, I can say easily, I'm pointing to the back of the bus, point to the front of the bus, you know, whatever. So anyway, that's about it. Now I have to deal with the wiring and the coax, get the power back going. This is just going to be kind of temporary. I still got a long way to go on this bus. The reason I'm working on an antenna when I've got all of this other work to do is that I'm starting from the top down. I want to make sure everything on the roof is good and that it doesn't leak. And so if there's any work that needs to be done up there, I'm going to do that first. And then when I'm done with everything on the roof, I know, okay, now it's safe. As long as I do a good job, now it's safe to come in here and do floors and fix rot and things like that. So that's why I'm up here playing around with antennas, which are like toys to me. That's part of it, but yeah, I'm gonna fix all the little leaks, reseal everything up there, then I'll come inside and start working. So that's my explanation. But anyway, I'm going to put that little I keep forgetting what it's called. What's it called? Sensar Pro. I think I'm gonna cut a hole right here next to the old clock and put it right there. And then I'll just, you know, put some clips to hold the coax so that when you open the door, it'll be okay. So, sorry it's dark. But so that'll, once I get that done, that should finish it up. All right, I've got the Sensar Pro mounted in this, what turned out to be plexiglass. It was fun drilling and Dremel tooling out the hole and everything. There's plexiglass everywhere in here now, but luckily I've dealt with plexiglass before and I know what to do. You can break this stuff. If you try to force a screw in it and your hole isn't big enough, it does not stretch, it will break. So keep that in mind if you ever mess around with plexiglass. But anyway, it looks pretty good. So now I'm hooking up all the wires in the back. So I'm gonna kind of button everything up, and then I'm gonna get some of those cable holders to, you know, hold all this stuff real nice so that when you close the door and open it, everything's tied up and it'll be, you know, up out of the way like this. So that's all I got to do, and then I'll be done with this project. So I found these two wires here that somebody had already spliced in and terminated. It's not the greatest splice in the world, but they are hot. So I made a little jumper. This is the wrong end for this. a little jumper. I'm gonna plug these in to these convenient spade connectors, or whatever they're called, quick connects, and just use this for now to run over to the preamp power supply and power it up. I'm not gonna go too crazy yet with tying up wires and everything, because I've got a long way to go in here with trying to wire and figure things out. So for now, I'm just gonna get it working so I can watch a little TV while I'm in here working. So finishing up. Well, I'm all done. Got the antenna in, and I got the Sensar Pro in. Seems to be working pretty good. That's the channel I'm watching right now. RF channel 36. Signal strength is 37, which I don't know how high this thing goes. I need to read the manual, but 30, 40, 50 seems to be really good. So everything's working good. I'm picking up, man, I'm in eastern North Carolina. I'm picking up Raleigh all the way out to Durham. This thing's really doing good. So I'm very happy with it. I'm glad to be done with this project.